Welcome to a deep dive into, well, a really unseen part of the global economy. It's absolutely crucial, though. We're
Uh,
talking about the silent engine, the one that keeps everything running while most of us are asleep.
yeah,
It's the global spare parts logistics in night market.
right.
And this isn't just like moving boxes around, it's this rapid response system.
Mm.
It prevents potentially catastrophic downtime across really essential industries.
And we've actually sourced some incredible data on this. It really shines a light on just how vital this sector has become.
Oh, yeah.
Globally, get this night market for spare parts, it was valued at nearly $5.8 billion. That was back in 2021.
Wow, okay, $5.8 billion. dollars.
Yeah, but what's really compelling is where it's heading. By 2025, it's expected to reach close to $6.8 billion.
Almost another billion.
And then by 2033, the projection is an impressive $9.5 billion.
$9.5 billion.
That's a steady compound annual growth rate,
Yeah.
CAGR, of over 4%.
So, okay, let's unpack that. We're looking at a nearly double-digit billion-dollar market that like comes alive after sunset.
Exactly.
This explosive growth, it isn't just about more demand, is it? It sounds like a fundamental shift in how industries are operating.
That's a really good way to put it. It signals exactly that.
Yeah.
Companies aren't just thinking about maximizing daytime anymore.
Right.
They're building entire operations around the assumption that critical parts can be sourced and delivered literally any hour,
Yeah.
24/7.
So for you listening, this means really understanding a critical backbone of our, well, our always-on instantaneous world. It just has to work.
And when we talk about this night market for parts, we're not talking about street stalls, obviously.
Oh, no.
It's a really sophisticated, often invisible network.
Invisible, yeah. Like what?
Well, think highly specialized couriers.
Yeah.
Strategically located dark warehouses operating around the clock.
Dark warehouses?
Okay. Advanced inventory systems that can pinpoint some rare component,
Yeah.
anywhere globally.
Yeah.
Even emergency charter flights sometimes.
Wow.
It's all designed to get the right parts, the right place, while most people are asleep.
That just sounds like a logistical marvel, honestly.
It really is.
Imagine the pressure, like a hospital, and an MRI machine goes down at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
or a critical server failing in a data center.
Yeah.
That's precisely the kind of emergency this night market is built to solve.
And it transforms what could be days of downtime
Yeah, days.
into just mere hours.
Incredible. So how does this critical need translate when you look at different regions?
It's really striking, actually, how these global figures break down regionally.
Okay.
Take North America. It represents a pretty significant chunk of this market, currently valued around $1.5 billion.
Right.
And it's projected to grow to over $2.2 billion
Okay.
by 2033.
Okay. Steady growth.
Yeah, its growth rate is around 3.6%, which, might seem steady compared to some other places we'll talk about.
Hmm.
But it really reflects a deeply embedded reliance on these services in its mature industrial sectors.
That consistency in North America is fascinating, though. It just shows how integral these services have become, right?
Absolute.
And our sources, they clearly point to the United States leading the charge there.
They do.
Taking the lion's share, projected to climb from, what, over $1.2 billion to nearly $1.9 billion by 2033.
That's right.
But it's not just the U.S., is it? Canada and Mexico are also seeing robust expansion.
Yep.
Canada specifically projected to reach over $200 million by 2033. That's a strong 4.5% CAGR.
Absolutely. And, that global demand isn't just confined to North America. If you look across the Atlantic.
Europe.
Yeah. Europe's robust industrial backbone also leans heavily on this overnight network.
Makes sense.
Europe saw revenues of nearly $1.2 billion back in 2021.
Okay.
And that's climbing to a projected $1.8 billion by 2033. So a solid 3.8% CAGR there.
Similar kind of steady growth pattern then.
Pretty similar, yes. And Germany really stands out as one of the strongest markets within Europe.
I'd expect that.
Growing to well over $380 million. It just demonstrates a sustained need in a highly industrialized economy.
So Europe, yeah, much like North America, showing the steady kind of essential growth.
Mm.
And it's not only Germany either, right? The UK and France are also key players.
Correct. Both projected to exceed $230 million by 2033.
So it really just underscores this universal demand, doesn't it, for the overnight logistics, even in these, highly developed economies.
It really does. But while North America and Europe show that consistent expansion, the real story of rapid growth that's playing out in the Asia Pacific. In APAC.
Ah, okay. So what are we seeing there?
Well, this market started around $2.4 billion in 2021.
Which is already bigger than North America or Europe back then.
Exactly. And it's projected to reach an impressive $4.2 billion by 2033.
Wow, $4.2 billion.
Securing the highest regional CAR, that's over 4.8%.
Okay, that's explosive growth. What's behind that?
Well, it isn't just about, burgeoning industrial output. It also points to a really rapid adoption of just-in-time manufacturing
Right, JIT.
and lean inventory practices, places where every hour of downtime means, significant production losses. They
Yeah.
need this night service.
And nearly doubling in value for APAC is, yeah, that's a huge leap. And I see here China and India look like the real drivers of that expansion.
Absolutely. China's revenue projected to jump from over $720 million in 2021 to over $1.3 billion by 2033.
Okay.
But it's India's figures that really catch
Yeah.
the eye.
What's happening there?
An incredibly robust 5.67% CAGR.
5.67%. Wow.
Yeah, climbing from over $330 million to nearly $650 million over that same period.
Okay, so what specific factors do you think are driving that kind of rapid acceleration in India? Is it like new manufacturing hubs? Is it a shift in their logistics infrastructure or something else?
That's a fantastic question. And it really speaks to um, India's burgeoning industrialization,
Hmm.
but also, maybe ironically, a less developed traditional logistics infrastructure in some areas.
Ah, interesting. So the night market fills a bigger gap.
Precisely. It creates a stronger impetus for these specialized agile nighttime services to fill critical gaps, especially as their manufacturing and, importantly, their IT sectors scale up so rapidly.
That makes sense.
And this trend, you see it continuing in other emerging markets too. South America, for instance, also showing significant promise.
Okay.
Projected to grow from over $330 million to nearly $575 million by 2033. That's a solid CTJ or two, over 4.5%.
And who's leading there? Brazil.
Brazil leads the charge, yeah.
Yeah.
But Argentina also sees strong growth.
Right. That makes a lot of sense considering the industrial development happening, the push for efficiency in those regions. And the trend continues, I see, in the Middle East and Africa, too. Albeit maybe on a smaller scale, but still clear growth.
Absolutely. Still steady growth. The Middle East market projected to rise from over $230 million in 21 to over $400 million by 33.
Okay.
That's a CAGR of nearly 4.5%. Saudi Arabia is the largest contributor there.
Right.
But the UAE actually posts one of the highest growth rates in the region, over 5%.
It's interesting. And Africa.
And finally, Africa, seeing growth from around $144 million in 2021 to over $244 million by 2033.
Okay.
That's a CAGR of over 3.7%. And South Africa leads that market.
So what's really compelling here, then, is how all these diverse regions,
Yeah.
different economic sizes, different stages of development, they all share this fundamental need for uninterrupted operation.
That's the key takeaway. It drives this specific nighttime logistics market everywhere. It highlights a universal pressure point in the global economy.
So, okay, we've taken a real deep dive into this hidden engine.
We have.
And what seems clear is that the night market for spare parts logistics, it's not just some niche thing anymore. It's rapidly expanding. It's becoming indispensable.
Absolutely.
As global industries just relentlessly move toward round-the-clock operations, needing these reliable nighttime spare parts, it's not optional anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's absolutely essential for maintaining competitiveness, for minimizing operational risks. It's fundamental.
Yeah.
And the figures we've explored today, they truly underscore that. This market is a foundational pillar of global logistics infrastructure now.
A pillar, yeah.
Whether it's supporting emergency repairs, maintaining those continuous manufacturing cycles we talked about, or ensuring critical IT and telecom ops never falter.
Right.
That smooth flow of parts at night is paramount. And zooming out a bit, this data, it really highlights our profound reliance, maybe an unconscious reliance, on these unsung logistical heroes for our modern interconnected world.
That's a great way to put it. So what does this all mean for you listening and maybe for the future of industry? As industries worldwide increasingly embrace this 24/7 reality, how will these logistical systems keep evolving, especially thinking about, I don't know, environmental concerns or maybe unforeseen global disruptions?
Yeah, that leads us to consider
Yeah.
what further innovations are actually going to be required in technology, in strategy, to meet these escalating demands for nighttime parts. particularly in those regions experiencing the most rapid growth, like APAC and South America.
Right.
What are the next breakthroughs? Is it AI, automation, maybe even drone technology? What's going to redefine this critical, extremely time-sensitive supply chain next?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. Ever think about what keeps things running when, well, most of us are asleep? We're diving into something pretty fascinating today, often unseen actually. It's night logistics, the backbone of 247 operations. And specifically, we're really going to drill down on spare parts logistics during those crucial overnight hours.
Yeah, this isn't just, about getting things quickly. It's often the absolute lifeline for industries that just cannot afford to stop. So our mission in this deep dive, to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, what's driving this market, the unique headaches companies face operating in the dark, and the really cool innovations shaping its future. Let's get into it. Okay, so first off, why is night logistics suddenly becoming such a powerhouse? What are the big shifts driving this part of the supply chain?
It's really interesting how it shifted. Night logistics used to be maybe a niche thing, but now it's becoming non-negotiable for so many. The first big driver is just raw urgency, critical repairs. Think about, say, a grounded aircraft. Every single minute that plane sits there costs the airline thousands, maybe tens of thousands, or a huge manufacturing line that just grinds to a halt. So in industries like aviation, automotive, telecoms, heavy manufacturing, when key equipment fails, waiting until 9 a.m. Monday, that's just not an option anymore.
Right. It's unthinkable downtime.
Exactly. So getting that essential spare part delivered overnight isn't just nice to have. It directly hits the P&L, safety compliance, and crucially, business continuity. It's a necessity now, not a luxury.
That's a really strong point, necessity. Does that mean for these critical sectors, the actual cost of the night delivery is almost secondary compared to the cost of being offline?
In many cases, yes. They're essentially saying whatever it takes, get that part here now.
And building on that urgency, what about getting ahead of the problem? How is stuff like predictive maintenance changing the need for nighttime parts?
Ah, good question. You've really hit on a core truth there. For anything mission critical, the cost of downtime just dwarfs the premium for night delivery. They will pay. And that leads straight into the second driver. This boom in on-demand and especially predictive maintenance services, we're seeing this huge shift towards, IoT-enabled machinery, machines with sensors constantly sending data, vibration, temperature, you name it.
Smart machines telling you they're about to break.
Pretty much. Smart diagnostics use that data to predict a failure before it happens, so this lets businesses schedule the part delivery and the actual replacement overnight, maybe during planned downtime, long before a really costly daytime breakdown happens. This proactive approach, it's really boosting demand for night delivery systems that fit into those planned off-peak maintenance times.
Okay, so it's about preventing that expensive standstill before it even occurs. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And if we zoom out a bit, look at the wider economy. I mean, everyone wants everything faster now, right? Thanks to e-commerce. How has that changed the spare parts game?
Oh, it's transformed it completely. That's the third driver. The huge expansion of e-commerce and this baked-in expectation for same-day or next-day delivery. And that expectation, it's absolutely filtered down into the B2B world, into spare parts. So providers are using digital platforms now to offer night or early morning delivery options. And not just in big cities, they're reaching smaller towns, industrial clusters too.
So logistics companies, you have to step up.
They have to. To meet these really demanding service level agreements, sometimes it's a 2-hour window, or guaranteed overnight logistics firms are investing serious money. They're building specialized nighttime distribution systems. This includes things like micro-fulfillment centers.
Micro-fulfillment, like tiny warehouses.
Exactly. Highly automated, compact warehouses placed really close to where parts are needed near industrial parks, airports, that sort of thing. This means they can store critical parts maybe just minutes away from the customer, allowing for almost instant night deliveries. It gives them a huge competitive edge.
Okay, so this sector is clearly booming, lots of drivers. But I imagine operating in the middle of the night brings some massive headaches too. What are the biggest hurdles companies are, really grappling with in this 24/7 world?
Yeah, that's the flip side. It raises big questions about the operational reality. Night logistics has unique risks baked right in. You're talking about drivers dealing with much lower visibility, obviously. More road hazards, think deer on a dark rural road or something. And then there's the real issue of driver fatigue. Managing warehouse crews and delivery fleets late at night, it needs more oversight, stricter safety rules, often extra training. And all of that, well, it adds up. It increases costs and can definitely squeeze profit margins.
Right, the human element is tricky. And it's not just people, is it? What about the actual infrastructure? Roads, warehouses. You might think logistics is just trucks, but what if the roads aren't lit or warehouses aren't open 24/7? Especially maybe in, say, developing countries.
That's a huge factor. Limited infrastructure and route access can be a massive problem, particularly in certain parts of the world. We're talking poorly lit roads, sometimes a real lack of proper 24/7 warehousing facilities that can actually handle night operations safely. Or even local rules, restrictions on truck movements at night in some city zones. These things severely impact service quality, especially for that critical last mile delivery where every minute is vital. Getting a part to a remote factory down an unlit track at 3 a.m., that's totally different from a simple daytime city drop-off.
Yeah, I can see that. Makes perfect sense. And it sounds like all this just makes everything more expensive inevitably. What about finding the people? Is it hard to get staff willing to work these kinds of shifts?
Precisely. It all links back to higher logistics costs and, yeah, ongoing workforce challenges. Running night shifts usually means paying premium wages, shift differentials for drivers, warehouse staff. You also often burn more fuel. Maybe routes are longer at night, less efficient because of those infrastructure issues we just mentioned. And layered on top of that, there's often a genuine shortage of trained people who actually want to work night shifts consistently. That makes it really tough for companies to scale these night operations sustainably across big areas. It can be a real bottleneck.
Okay, so the challenges are definitely significant, tough stuff. But, where there are challenges, innovation usually follows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pivot a bit. How is the industry tackling these hurdles? What are the cool solutions coming through?
Yeah, it's actually pretty exciting to see how quickly things are moving. We're seeing rapid adoption of some really advanced solutions, for instance, automated warehousing and even drones in some specific cases. These are making a big difference. Think robotics, AI, smart conveyor systems inside warehouses. They can handle sorting, packing, dispatching tasks in the dark with much less human intervention needed.
So automation helps with the staffing issue at night.
It definitely can, yes. And then you have drones. In some developed countries, there are already trials for delivering critical, maybe smaller, lighter spare parts by drone. It shows real promise for high-speed, potentially lower labor solutions, especially for those really urgent, hard-to-reach type deliveries.
That's fascinating. Automation changing the labor game for night shifts. And what's also amazing is how much smarter the actual systems are getting. Things like real-time tracking, AI for routing. How's that making overnight delivery more reliable?
That's another crucial piece, absolutely. The integration of real-time tracking and AI-driven routing. Logistics platforms are becoming incredibly smart. They use machine learning to optimize delivery routes dynamically in real time. So it's not just planning one route at the start of the night. It's constantly adjusting, maybe rerouting vehicles based on unexpected things, a sudden road closure, an accident, even another emergency call coming in.
Wow, so it can react instantly.
Pretty much. These systems allow for super precise scheduling, they minimize delays, and this is important, they give customers total visibility, end-to-end tracking of their shipment.
Yeah.
That builds a lot more confidence in depending on these overnight services.
Yeah, that visibility must be key for peace of mind. Okay, and one more thing we're hearing about is hyperlocal logistics. How does that idea, maybe combined with dedicated night hubs, help get parts delivered faster in the dark?
Right. Hyperlocal is all about shrinking that last mile, getting incredibly close to the customer for extreme speed. Businesses are strategically setting up these satellite distribution centers, sometimes called night hubs, very near major industrial areas, airports, key service centers. These hubs basically act as mini command centers just for night operations.
So the parts are already nearby.
Exactly. It means quicker dispatch, much shorter distances for the final delivery leg for urgent parts. It improves efficiency, but more importantly, it improves customer response times dramatically in those critical areas. It's like pushing the warehouse right out into the field for the fastest possible reaction.
Right, so putting it all together, it feels like spare parts logistics at night. It's not just, a background support thing anymore. It's really becoming a mission-critical, strategic part of how companies operate worldwide. It directly impacts whether they stay online and competitive.
Absolutely spot on. As industries keep demanding faster turnarounds, constant 24/7 uptime, The importance of having really robust, well-coordinated night logistics systems, it's just going to keep growing exponentially, probably. We're really talking about a fundamental shift, an evolution of these systems where, frankly, only the companies investing in these advanced capabilities are going to thrive long term.
And that leaves us and you listening with a final thought to chew on. As this demand for speed and 24/7 operation just keeps accelerating, how will these complex night logistics systems keep evolving to meet those ever higher expectations? And maybe what role will you play in understanding and perhaps navigating this critical, fast-changing landscape?